Buck has always said that communication is key. And there are a ton of options available for us to use to communicate with each other today than we had 20 years ago. So, why are we so bad at communicating as a society? Why is it that a man will go through so much trouble to get a woman's contact information just so he can, what are you doing her to death? What happened to contacting her with a plan of action to get to know her? And for the women, why do some of you use social media to send mixed messages? Why do you say things to guys that you don't mean? It's not truly a reflection of how you feel. So tonight's show talks about why people can't communicate more effectively. We'll get to discuss that tonight on the Talk to Q radio show. No experts, just opinions. Let's get it.
T2Q Radio.
Hey, what up, Q? What up, Radio World?
Well, it's trying to speak white. Well, I am pro-woman, but I'm not anti-man. I know the value of a good man.
Is that it?
What's going on, people? I want to welcome all of you to another edition of the Talk to Q radio show. My name is Quincy, and this is my show. And I'm broadcasting live from the T2Q Man Cave. This is episode number 950, coming to you on YouTube Live, Tuesday, July 27th, 2021. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me, and please be sure to share with your friends. That's the only way this show can grow. It's 100% supported by you. If you are listening via Apple, Spotify, Ghana, etc., then please be sure to leave a review and share the show as well. Please and thank you. We're talking about communication skills in the modern day world. Yes, we'll talk about how some people communicate via text, but we'll also get deeper into the communication topic as it pertains to relationships. So let's go to the T2Q phone lines to see who will be joining this discussion. Let's see. Where do I want to go first? From the 850 area code, the Emerald Coastline of Pensacola, Florida, making his way to the ring, the man in black, the Buckster. What's going on, Buck?
What's up? What up? What up? How's everybody doing this evening?
Doing well, man. How you making it?
Outstanding.
Okay. I'll go ahead and ask you a question, then I'll bring on some other people who are holding. But, our standards in society have been lowered in everything we do. We no longer have to put on real clothes when we go out in public. We no longer have to have any real talent in order to become a millionaire. And we no longer have to put forth an effort in communicating with someone in order to get what we want from them. So first question, is the lack of communication when it comes to dating and relationships that we encounter today simply just another way society has dumbed us down over the last 25 years?
That's part of it. It's not all of it, though. Dumbing down the society has definitely played a role in that. However, now I think what we're really dealing with now is just we got kids raising kids and things of that nature. I think that's really what you're dealing with. When you have, you have teenagers having kids, they hadn't learned everything that they need to learn from their parents, broken homes, things of that nature. So that's the reason why we're kind of behind. We're behind in a lot of areas, especially when it comes to communicating. Parents nowadays park their kids and things in front of, some device, whether it be a phone or tablet or TV or whatever, just so the parents can do what they want to do. If it's a broken home type situation, they're doing all kinds of things like, trying to, they're trying to get their swerve on, whatever, while the kids are back there playing video games or doing whatever they need to do. And there's a lack, no line of communication whatsoever. So if you're not taught the proper way, you don't have aunts, uncles, granddads, grandmoms, it takes a village type mentality, and you don't have that village. And it's just, just you and the kid. It's kind of hard. The kid's not going to, when it grows up, is not going to know how to communicate when it comes to relationships.
Okay, totally get that. Let me go back to the phone lines and bring on another show legend who's called in. From the 732 area code, the Garden State of New Jersey, please welcome on the show enforcer, the show legend, Ray. Ray, what's happening?
Oh, what's up, Q? What's up, Buck?
What's going on? And so, Ray, what do you think? Do you think we've been dumbed down in society and that's why we had trouble communicating?
Well, I kind of think communication was bad. Now we talking about relationships. I think social media and texting and stuff like that makes it easier to be uh, less vocal about things, or less engaging about just communicating about your plans or whatever you plan to do, and less face to face. Although they have FaceTime and stuff like that that makes it better, I think a lot of people are comfortable doing other things while they're communicating, and sometimes a lot of things get unsaid or either left out. I mean, I think that back in the day, a lot of people give older generations credit, like Buck was doing, but I tend to disagree. I think they didn't communicate very well at all because, parenting and things of that nature that went on years ago, when you listen to how some of the stories go, they didn't communicate very well at all. It was a lot of beating and it was a lot of fear, but it wasn't a lot of communication. Now, some people say that works, but it works to a certain extent because if you don't have an understanding or somebody doesn't know why they shouldn't do something, or they don't know how to solve an issue without getting violent, that can become a problem further along down the line. So I think communication nowadays, even with kids, you should have a lot of dialogue before it has to get to anything else. Because you have to get some form of understanding. Understanding has to come with communication, has to come with talking, has to come with rules, it has to come with, structure. If somebody tell you to do something and you don't do it and they beat you and you're scared of them, then that's really not communication. That's just fear. So now
Yeah.
I think communication is pretty much the same way, but it's just different when it comes to relationships because of social media. And when kids come up where they don't have to be direct with somebody, they can be on the phone or they can text. I think it's a lot easier for them to avoid that confrontation or the conversation that needs to be had.
Okay. Great points. Great points. Let me get a couple of women in the mix. First of all, let me go to the Lone Star State of Texas and welcome on Miss Queen Cole. Queen, what's going on?
Hey, hey.
All right. Glad to have you on. And okay, she's not able to hear me, but we'll check back with her. In the meantime, let me bring on yet another show legend who has called in. From the 209 area code, the Golden State of California, please welcome on show legend Robin to the Talk to Q radio show. Hey, Robin, how are you?
Hello.
What's going on, Robin? You doing all right?
Doing well. Thanks for asking. How about yourself? Ray
I'm
and
doing
Buck?
fine. I'm doing
Good.
fine. All right, and Queen is not able to hear me at the moment. She may have to drop off and try again, and we'll try to see if we can figure it out. But Robin, let me go ahead and get you into this discussion, and let's talk about the WYD text that a woman may receive from a guy. Now, I
Yes.
personally think that the average dude who meets a woman and then later sends her a "what are you doing" text with nothing behind it probably isn't really interested in what she's doing. But how do you feel when a guy that you just met hits you with his very first text and it's simply WYD? What are you doing?
You've lost my interest, because if you can't communicate any better than 3 letters, you don't really want to know what I'm doing, because it's not going to be anything with you anytime soon. It's so the first time to meet somebody, if you can't have a conversation with them, I think it's okay if you do it after you've been talking, you get comfortable with each other, you know each other, and you hit each other. What are you doing? Because I may be coming over. What are you doing? Because I want to go to dinner or whatever. But to start something out like that is extremely lazy. It doesn't give any type of creativity to what you may be bringing to the relationship. It's boring. It is just, it ain't it, period.
All right, so what should a guy's first text be to you? I mean, let the fellas out here know, how a woman should be approaching a man via text message.
I mean, how old are you, Q?
I'm 49.
Oh, okay, so I'm 50. So if I got to teach you how to do all this, it ain't gonna work. Because at this point of the game, you should really know how to approach somebody, I would think. But if it were me, just, general conversation. I don't need to know your favorite color. I don't need to know, right off the bat how many kids you got. But, what do you like to do? So, you're trying to pique and show an interest in me to find out how you can continue this relationship, to do things I'm going to enjoy and talk about things I'm going to enjoy, as well as giving me that same thing back, that same feedback from you. Like, do you like to go to amusement parks, or, getting to know somebody, not just, want to jump their bones. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when Badman was on, and his one night stand story, how, men nowadays, I don't know if it's because of the pandemic and they've been alone, but they approach women in all the wrong ways.
Okay. So let's get some opinion from some of the fellas here. And Buck, I'll go to you since you're still in the dating game, Buck. What's your advice to guys out there as far as how to approach a woman via messaging, via, if it's text or DM? You finally get her contact information. How should you approach her? Can't hear you, Buck.
He's on mute.
No, I'm not on mute now, but I can't hear anybody.
Listen, are you unable to hear me, Buck?
I can hear you, but can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. How should a guy approach a woman with that very first text message? What should he be saying to her?
Uh-oh.
Okay, I'm just struggling all around. Let me get Queen Cole back in the mix. Queen, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Glad to have you on. And Queen, so what do you think about guys when they hit you with that very first text message? What are you doing? How should a guy approach a woman when he's trying to get to know her via text?
First of all, I don't think you should try to get to know me via text. I'm a woman of a certain age, and I like a good phone conversation. I remember those days talking on the phone till you got sleepy, and then you wake up and you want to call them back and all that. So to get to know me, you're going to have to call me. So text message after you start getting to know me, but definitely you got to make a phone call to the queen. You got to make a phone call.
Okay, so all right, I've noticed you and Robin have both kind of gone along the same theme as far as being of a certain age. So is it okay for someone in their 20s? At what point should a woman say, okay, this is not enough, or should they all be looking at a different way of communicating?
And it just really depends on who the person is. I'm just speaking from my perspective, what I'm used to, what I would prefer, because text message for me can be taken out of context, because I can say something in a hurry, just a quick, text, and I didn't mean to be so abrupt or so, whatever you want to fill in the blank. So I just feel like when you hear that person's voice, the emotion in their voice, or even with the FaceTime, you can see their body language and do that. But it takes time to do that. So you have to make time to, either put your headphones on or get in a quiet place so that you can make those conversations happen. But it really just depends on the person and their style of communication. If you're a short person, then you would probably prefer just text messages. I'm a woman of many words, so I want to hear all your words. I want to hear you pronounce things. I want so yeah, so text messages, it would just not be my main source of communication.
Okay. Yeah, hearing someone's grammar is important as well. So, but Ray, let me play devil's advocate, Ray, for the people who do text regularly. Sometimes people are just busy and don't have a lot of time for a phone conversation. So, I mean, texting is not necessarily a bad thing, right?
Well, I think when you get to know somebody, I mean, I agree with the ladies 100%. I think when you get to know somebody, you want to hear their voice, you want to put everything together. What you remember when you last saw them, to even get their number, you want to see their, you want to put the visual together. If you don't hear from them, you just texting. See, it's all right if you in a hurry, but explain that on a text. You say, I don't have a lot of time, but I was thinking about you. Do you have time to talk really quick? She said, well, no, I'm going here, I'm going there. Okay, is it okay if I send you a text message? I would love to talk to you, but right now I'm running short of time. Now she understands what's going on.
Yeah.
But if you just somebody, you WTD and D, half of these uh, letters, I don't even know what the hell they mean sometimes. So you got to spell that out, and really talk and say what you need to say. But a lot of people don't really look at it that way because they just they don't care. You know what I'm saying? So I think that everybody, if you're going to communicate, I think you have to communicate via phone. Text, it should be something short if you don't know each other. But if you know each other, then texting is fine. But other than that, I think you need a phone conversation.
All right. All right. And Robin, so what about people? You ever been in a textationship? Okay, that's when you're constantly texting, but nothing's ever developing. You're not going out, you're not meeting. It's just conversations every day. That ever happened to you?
Yeah, it did. And it was ongoing for about a good year. It was right before the pandemic. It's happened before, but this was right before the pandemic. I met somebody online. It was constantly a text. And I'm like, look, if you don't want to link up, just say that. Well, come to find out, I knew why he didn't want to link up, because he was already linked up. So, and that's the thing that I think women have that fear of about a constant text as well, is why can't you call me? Why can't we, communicate any time of day, 1:00 in the morning, because maybe there's somebody there.
Okay. All right, Queen Cole, what you think about testationships? In some cases, if you're in a testationship with someone, then odds are you may be low on that person's priority list of dating partners for some reason. So how do you feel about that? Do you think that's the case in a lot of times?
Yeah, I do think that, because when we're texting, we're doing multiple things. We might be, working out, texting. We might be doing this, texting. You might be with a group of people texting. So, yeah, it would make me, turn aside out, like, why only text? What's the deal with that? And I had I don't even know if this was a textationship. This was a picture ship. I don't know, but a guy kept on DMing me, like, places that he was going, things that he was doing, like, yo, Queen, check me out. I'm like,
Things
okay.
without you.
And so then the third time he did it, I said, I appreciate all the adventures, but every time you say you're in my city, we never connect. So I'm like, no need to send me any more pictures, because I'm not there. I don't want to see your food. I don't want to see who you're playing pool with. Like, what? So I had to just tell him to stop texting me all the stuff that he was doing without me. Because I'm like, you always be saying, next time I'm in town, I want to get with the queen. Like, okay. So yeah, you have to cut that kind of stuff short, because people don't. We make time for what's important to us. So if you make time for me, then I'm going to make time for you, whether I'm busy, I'm doing whatever it is, I'm going to make time for you. So if you don't make that space for me, I'm not going to reciprocate the actions.
Okay. I feel you on that. Yeah, I don't think I like anyone coming to my city, showing me pictures of them eating at restaurants in my city and not inviting me. I mean, what's up with that?
Rude.
So, Badman says WYD stands for when you dropping draws. All right. So, Buck, back to you, man. Let me ask you this, Buck. Another problem with communication comes from mixed signals. Now, there are some ladies who believe that a man should be kept off balance by saying things that they know aren't reflective of their feelings, just to see how he responds. Like, for example, I don't care if you go out with the guys again tonight, or no, nothing is bothering me. I mean, do you think there's a reason why some women test men just to see their response?
I think sometimes they test to see what kind of response you got, because maybe they have things that they're doing that they don't want you to know about, and they were trying to keep you off balance so you won't think that they're doing anything when they may be doing anything. Previous relationship that I had, she would always, she worked in a hospital. Well, she got off early, and she was going to see another guy eating dinner with him, but she'd bring dinner home for us to eat, and she'd be not hungry. And I'm like, something's wrong with that. So she'd fall asleep. She'd fall asleep on the couch because she had to be at work at 5:30 in the morning. And then these dudes are sitting up there texting, going like, "Had a great dinner," and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, she's trying to say I'm doing something bad when she was actually doing something bad. You're seeing people behind my back. And I'm like, ultimately that was the reason why I ended up leaving her. But she really wasn't my type of female anyway. I kind of settled. But you just have to you have to know what you're dealing with. And you just got to ask questions, and you got to be able to communicate, and you got to be, for me, I got to talk to you. If I'm just now meeting you, I'm not going to be texting you. I'm going to be calling you. So, so I can figure out, what's your likes, what's your dislikes. You can say anything via text, but if I hear it in, on voice, it kind of sticks with me a little bit. So that way I know what you want to go do. What you like, what you don't like, where you want to go eat, what are your food choices, those kind of things. That's what communicating is, talking to that person, not just doing it via text. For a little while you can text, but other than that, I got to get that phone call action so I know what's going on.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. Okay, and Ray, you want to add to that, man? As far as is it healthy for women to have that type of foundation in their relationship where they feel like they got to say what they don't mean just to see how a guy reacts?
No, I think you should always be honest. I mean, if you don't think that a guy is your type, then why need him in the first place? Yeah, I don't think you should be saying one thing and you mean something else. And, because a lot of times how you start out is how you got to finish. Now, if you say, okay, well, sorry, to go out with the guys, okay, you kind of got to want to hang out with the guys 5 days out the week, then he might not be the guy for you. Because to me, ladies, this is a tip that ladies should always look at. If a guy is interested in you and he just met you, he not in your town and he doing everything else besides coming to see you. Time his feet hit the cement in your town, he's supposed to be calling, trying to find out how can y'all meet up first and foremost before he
Yeah.
see his grandmama, before he see anybody else. Now, he may go see his grandmama first, but you guys are going to have some plans while he's there visiting his grandmother. Same thing with, you know, um, guys going out. Okay, it's okay to have fun with friends and all that, but once you get in your late 20s, your 30s, your 40s, why are you doing more hanging out with the guys than you are trying to do with your girl? That type of stuff shows immaturity. So you need to see that off the top. And a guy wants to text and he got time to drink and take pictures and shoot pool and everything else, but he ain't got time. So once he wind down to call you on the phone and even talk for 30 minutes, oh, I just want to call you and see what you was doing and love and beautiful and all this other type of stuff. Talk to you 15 minutes and he lay it down. Nah, that ain't no good. Get you somebody else again. So I think communication is important for a woman to say what she mean and mean what she say, and same thing with the guy.
Uh-oh. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, right. I don't know what happened to Q.
She like disappeared.
You got stuck. He got stuck. These cyber streets.
What in
See,
the
that's what
world?
happened to me on the first question. I got stuck, and my screen was frozen, and I couldn't. I could hear him, but he couldn't hear me. So I had to kind of back out and get back in.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. So, where do we go from here?
Well, Robin, what do you think about what Ray was saying? Do you think guys do need to take that time out and say, hey, yes, I've been ripping and running, but how does that make you feel when they do take that time?
It makes you feel extra special, right? So if you're seeing somebody and they're busy and they take some time to say, let me focus on her and make her a priority, that makes you feel great. But the problem is, and this is my opinion, fellas, y'all don't know how to balance that. So you'll do it like for a little while, and then after that you'll fall off, and then you may come back. Consistency is so amazing to me. I read a meme the other day. It said, why did you date this other guy? Because your inconsistency, it introduced me to him. So when you're not doing the same things to make your mate feel secure and happy, that's, you should expect that. So be consistent, and that communication is so key. But as women, we have to communicate too. We can't just have an attitude about it. We can't just, walk around with our lips poked out. We have to communicate. It's key. It's crucial.
Yeah, I agree. But
So
what do you think about guys being consistent? Is it because of your intentions? Like you don't have intentions on being with this person? What's the deal with guys when the consistency gets to dropping off, Buck, when to address what Robin was saying?
Well, I mean, if everything is going good at home and y'all are communicating, the consistency shouldn't drop off. There's just certain things that when you get older, that's what you're looking for is consistency. You don't want, there's things that you want to be able to do with your mate, and communication is important. If you do something bad, and you did something bad, say, look, if I did something bad, please let me know. Don't hold on to it for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we're doing something good, and then all of a sudden, I'm mad at you. What you mad at me for? Well, you did this like 3 weeks ago. And I'm going like, because this has happened to me, and I'm going like, well, why didn't you tell me then? We're having a good time now, and then all of a sudden, you screw it up by saying that I did something bad 3 weeks ago. Well, what did I do? You probably can't even remember what I did, but you're mad at it. For what? So it goes back. You have to be able to know how to communicate with your mate. If you don't know how, these are questions that need to be asked in the beginning stages of relationships. If you're jealous and you know that you're jealous and you can't help, I introduce you to somebody that I know that's been a friend of mine for 35 years, and you're going to clown about it because because I give them a one-arm hug is better than what I give you at a two-arm hug. There's something wrong with that person. There's not something wrong with me, because I'm not sure. My thing is this: if my friends are going to be there before you, during you, and hopefully, if you keep clowning, it's going to be after you. Because I'm not going to lose a friend because of because of your jealousy issues. That's on you. So the communication needs to be found out in the beginning stages of a relationship. So therefore, if you're dealing with an idiot, hey, you can cut ties early and you don't have to worry about it. But if you're not dealing, if the person is willing to make the changes that they need to make, and you get things out in the open in the beginning, you dodge all the frustration, you dodge all the ignorance, and you don't have those kind of issues.
Yeah, that's real good, right? What do you think about people having their representatives showing up, trying to communicate with the representative? How do you break down those walls to get to the real person that you need to communicate with?
Because the thing is, if you meet somebody and you guys are talking and their representative shows up, their representative is going to get tired soon because they're going to get tired of pretending. See, a guy, to me, when you show up and you meet a girl and all you looking to do is screw and everything else, it's going to show. Because when you talk about watching the movie, you talk about going on a date, you're talking about uh, doing anything, sooner or later, maybe a week or so in, he's not going to want to do anything because he's interested in getting to the physical first. And that representative is going to really start to fade. You're going to see attitude. You're going to see him getting distant. You're going to see him not treating you the same way he was treating you because he has one thing on his mind. I've always been a person that just likes female conversation. I want to know what you like. I want to know what you think. I want to know how you feel, what you like to do, all these things. And then we can go on 5 or 6 hours in one night. And each day, now when you meet up or you get to see each other, now you already know so much about each other. The other part comes along naturally. But you have some guys that come sit on the couch. I didn't come over here to watch no movie. I didn't come over here to eat no food. You know what's going on and this and that. I mean, and I know guys like that. And hey, that works for them. But if I'm a girl, ain't no way in hell I go for nothing like that. You come over here, man, every time you come over here, you supposed to be half naked time you hit the door. Nah, it ain't don't work like that. Either you like to spend time with a female or you don't. Some people don't. And if you're a woman, you like to talk, you like to eat, you like to engage, you like to watch movies, then you don't get that type of a guy. Because a guy interested in you, he go to sleep thinking about you and he wake up thinking about you. And
All right.
everything else is secondary.
All right, cool. And I apologize, you all. I dropped off. My power went out temporarily. The weather just got really bad here, so I apologize if it happens again. But storm just came out of nowhere, and so I got someone in the virtual T2Q waiting room. Let me know when you're ready to chime in. I don't see any indication that you're ready right now. All right, but the worst form of communication is not saying anything at all. Some people will sit on their feelings simply because they don't want to rock the boat. I mean, that person may feel mistreated by their mate, but because they don't want to say anything, that may lead to a breakup. They stay silent. So, Robin, how do you convince someone who's afraid of being alone to speak up for themselves in a relationship?
How do you convince somebody? Say that again.
How do you convince someone who's afraid of being alone to speak up in a relationship? Because they're afraid they may piss the other person off and it results in a breakup.
Yeah. So I think I had talked about this a couple of shows ago. And it's having a loving conversation with them, whatever it may be, whether it's a challenging thing or something that's difficult to talk about. I always say, I need to have a loving conversation with you because I don't want to come off as abrasive. I don't want to come off as accusatory. We're too grown for that. And if I can't be in a relationship with somebody and we can really have open conversation, it's really no need for us to be there. So approaching it from a perspective of love, and there may be some cuss words that come out during the conversation. There may be some, not nice things being exchanged between the two of you, but you're starting it out the right way. And how you start it, raising that how you start it is how you're supposed to end it. Okay. So, just really being an adult about it. And unfortunately, even at this age, people just don't get that maturity thing. And it's sad. It's really sad.
All right, Ray, you agree? I know you were co-signing.
No, I mean, yeah, I think it's all about the approach. I mean, if you approach somebody the right way, then at least you start off on the right foot. It may go a little sideways. You can straighten it back up as long as you coming from a good place with it. See, what I think a lot of people wait till they get angry to start communicating. When you get
Mm,
angry, only
it's too
bad
late.
things are going to come out, and it's going to come across all the way wrong if you're angry. So I think it's better to, communicate before you get angry. And I think
Okay,
things will work
Queen.
out better.
Queen,
Yes,
your thoughts?
yes, I have to definitely agree with Ray to communicate before it gets that far. A lot of people go to therapy when things are awful, but you can go to therapy, you can communicate when things are great. So saying those things, like not only when you're angry or something has bothered you, like say the things that you like. Like, I love when you send me flowers. I love when you rub my booty when we're watching a movie. Like, say those things so that way when those negative things come up, there's that safe space to be able to do that. And I think that's what we have to cultivate, that safe space, because some people, you don't know their childhood trauma where maybe they were punished or some kind of consequence for speaking up about how they felt or something that they didn't like. And now they brought that into adulthood, into your relationship. So I think first, just creating that safe space. So not only when it's bad, but when it's good, like, I love when you do this, or thank you for doing that. I appreciate this, saying, what your love language are. So that's what I think. Start there first before it even get to that point. So that way, when you do get angry, that it's all love. It's not from a place of, you know, I'm trying to bash you or anything like that.
And I love what Queen said, that you don't know what the childhood trauma that somebody has been through. That's why I think it's important to share those things. Yeah, they hurt, uncomfortable, it's embarrassing, but say, I don't know, I'm not going to use that example, but say you say something that triggers them. If you knew about it, you wouldn't have said it, right? So I really love what she said.
All right.
Most people wouldn't, but then if that's something that's going to trigger you, some people will say that just to set you off.
We got to be mature. We got to be mature.
No doubt. And speaking of maturity, Terry chimed in. He said, "Real talk." He said, "Matching or near matching levels of communication, understanding, maturity are everything to avoid static/conflicts." And no doubt on that. All right. So let me see if I can get this person on real quick, and we'll get to our final thoughts, because the way this weather is showing out, I'm not sure if I'll be able to get finished or not before my power goes out. So let me go back to the T2Q virtual phone line. From the 870 area code, the natural state of Arkansas, please welcome on the master of Leonism, the Badman. Badman, what's going on with you, man?
Good evening, everybody. I'm not usually my jovial self today. Yesterday, I got the news around about 7:10 a.m. that the matriarch of my family, the 110-year-old Wonder Woman, got her wings. And a lot of people say, she lived a long life. But I tell people that still my grandma, that's still the first person that schooled me on Captain Kangaroo. That's the one that, taught me basically about sports. It wasn't a male figure, it was my grandmother, my widowed grandmother. At the time I was born, she was at least about 60. So I had 50 years with her. And I can tell when we used to talk, there's things in her past she really didn't like to talk about. When those things, and I just put two and two together, it's like whenever it was during those times during segregation, or even worse with Jim Crow, those are things that she completely would not talk about. And being growing up in the deep south in Louisiana, I'm pretty sure it was horrible. It was horrible. But she raised these kids after my grandfather died, because before my grandfather died, they was going to move to New York City. And can you imagine if there would have been a Badman New York instead of the Arkansas Badman, East Coast Badman, which almost was in '90, if I would have just stayed in New Jersey. But some days I do miss New Jersey. I really do.
Where was you at?
But I was in Fort Dix.
Oh, Fort Dix. Okay, that's like the military spot up
Yeah,
there.
round about
All right.
Cherry Hill, and because I
Oh
was
yeah,
like an hour
that's
from.
South Jersey.
Yeah, I had a homeboy took me to Newark one time. I stayed there one night and got the hell up out of there.
Oh yeah, you gotta come up
Wait,
out of here.
man,
yeah,
I didn't know
yeah,
about Gypsy Cab till I went to New York City, and I'm like, what? But you know, when I went in the house, because my uncle, she was staying with my uncle. My uncle was taking care of her. So we're waiting. They're waiting on the coroner to come get her. So I go in the house and I go in her room. She just laying there peaceful, and I broke down. It was like seeing my mom again. Well, my mom.
Man.
And think about it though, with my grandmother, when we back in 2012, we had to take my mom off life support. Everybody around the bed had tears in the eyes except my grandma. My grandma was holding my hand saying, "It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right." And I'm looking at my grandma, and I'm just bawling. I'm like, "Grandma, it ain't gonna be all right." She said, "It's gonna be all right." So I'm glad she did get to see Obama, because there's something I don't even think, and that made her cry. And I ain't never seen her cry, but that's the only time I've seen her cry, when they elected Obama, because she never thought she was gonna live to see that, especially
Yeah,
coming from where she come from.
I can imagine. And being 110 years old, Laura knows that she saw a lot in her time. So that was probably the last thing she expected. But Badman, I definitely want to offer my condolences, man, and I'm sure everyone else does as well,
Yeah,
for the
condolences
loss
to
of your
you,
grandmother. I
family.
mean, 110 years is a blessing. It never seems long enough when you're on the losing end of that. But the stories that you've shared, and you talking to her, and the pictures that I've seen over the years and stuff, man, I truly know how much she meant to you. I still have a grandmother left who's 98, and so I can only imagine what it feels like for you with the relationship that you have with her. But definitely want to offer condolences to you and your family. But man, 110 years is definitely something to be proud of. I ain't gonna lie.
It really is, man. And like I said, we having the funeral Sunday, and like I said, I ain't gonna lie, I cried all day yesterday. I literally cried all day. And then the day when they got the dress out, so what they gonna bury her, I just broke. I had to walk away, because I keep telling people, that's my grandma. I mean, honey, I'm sorry, that was my grandma. That was the one. I'm watching Franco Harris, and I'm watching Jack Tatum, and I'm watching all these classic uh NFL on NBC, Raiders and Dolphins, and then Monday night game with Cowboys, Redskins, Eagles, and this is like, this is something kids would never know about, watching games on Sunday. Okay, but I'm just gonna wrap it up and just say, man, thank you, Q. Thank you. I got to get back to this essay because I'm behind. But thank you.
You're welcome, man. And again, like I said, our thoughts and prayers go out to you and your family in this time of bereavement.
Yes,
All right. All
No
right.
doubt.
So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll get ready to wrap up everything with our final thoughts.
Do you love movies? Then subscribe to the Movie Buffer YouTube channel to get honest and insightful movie reviews along with interesting facts about the films. Join this interactive community where comments are welcome. Reviews on current, classic, and hidden gems are posted weekly. See you on the Movie Buffer.
All right, final thoughts, and we'll get ready to wrap things up. The weather just getting crazier here. And so final thoughts on communication. And Robin, I'll start with you. Robin, you're on mute. There you go. Now I can't hear you. Robin? Okay, I'm thinking Robin can't hear me. Anybody else can hear me? Queen, you want to go first or your final thoughts?
I can hear you. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. My final thoughts on communication, and I don't know if somebody said this earlier, but in order to be a better communicator, I think you need to be an active listener. So not only just listening to respond, but listening to get an understanding where that person is coming from and then to respond. So don't just, while they're going off, just waiting for your reply. Ingest it, digest it, see and hear where the person is coming from, and then respond. So I think we need to be more better active listeners in order to be better communicators.
All right, sounds good. You know, Judge Judy said they gave people 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So, Ray, got any final thoughts?
Oh yeah, I think what Queen said, that's very true. You definitely have to listen because you have to get an understanding. And in order to get an understanding, you got to be able to hear the other person. So, I mean, this is a great topic because, you know, what we're doing now, we're communicating. So, communication is very important. And I think that if you learn to communicate, I think you will have a better understanding of everything, not just a relationship, not just a friendship, not just a work environment or whatever. You just have to be able to let people know how you feel, and other people should let you know how they feel. If they do that, I think the world would be a better place. I think a lot of violence and everything takes place because of misunderstandings that could have easily been cleared up by communication. So communication is just a very important tool that needs to be used by everybody, children to adults, adults to children, husbands to wives, girlfriends to boyfriends. I mean, it's just important to get an understanding. So I think it was a good show. It was a great topic, and I think everybody had great points. And Badman, rest in peace to your grandmother, and good night.
All right. I appreciate you, man. And Robin, we'll try you again. Can you hear us? And
I
good to go on your
can.
final thoughts?
Final thoughts is, guys, be creative with your communication. It's not just, you know, the WYD text that we want to receive, and especially I don't want to. What did Keith say? When you gonna drop your drawers? Is that what he said? And much love to you too, Badman, and the loss of your grandmother. But yeah, be creative as mates. We just need to, I think, have that communication between one another. We're too grown to not be able to talk and respect the opinion of another person without, you know, feeling like you're going to be alone because they can't take that conversation, or you're being too difficult for them. So if that's the case, you weren't meant to be with them in the first place.
Understood. Thank you very much, ma'am. And Buck, shut it down for me.
I think we all said it best tonight. Communication is key. You know, we know what we got to do in this life as far as communication goes. So we just need to do it. We need to listen. We need to be able to talk to one another. We need to ask the questions that need to be asked on the front end and not on the back end. So therefore, you can have a great human experience. A lot of things in today's time are rushed because that's how life is. Everything is rushed. You get up, you get the kids ready for school. If you got kids still at home, you go to work. You come in, do homework, whatnot. By the time you get ready to sit down and actually relax, you're just sitting there and you look at your mate and it's just like, you don't know what to do, you don't know what to say, or you're too tired or whatever. There needs to be a line of communication in everything that you do. And I just think tonight there were so many great points that were made about communication, what needs to be done, listening, everything. I mean, everything that was said tonight was right on point. So I think we just need to, sometimes you need to dial yourself back a little bit so you can actually know what you're doing. So other than that, Badman, I feel your pain, man. And, God rest her soul. Glad she got her wings, but I know she will definitely be missed. When you have a grandparent or parent or anybody that gets over 100 years old, you kind of selfishly think they're going to be here for forever. I know my grandma lived to be 102. So and I have two great aunts right now, one 105, one 104. So,
wow.
When they get to that point, you kind of get a little bit selfish, and they because they're so healthy and they keep getting along really good. So when they do finally go, it's a huge shock. And I know she was a matriarch to your family, man, and much love to you, man, and pray for your family. My condolences to your family and yourself, man. But great show tonight, and everybody enjoy the rest of your week.
All right. And thank you for that. And I want to thank all of you. It's been a challenging show for different reasons, just technical reasons, and just trying to support a friend or a family member to the show. But I appreciate everyone hanging in there with me. Next week's show will be pretty interesting. Baby mama versus bonus mama. The two should get along, but that's not always the case. We'll discuss how the two can smooth things out, or at least be tolerant of each other. That's next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Time here on the Talk to Q Radio Show. Follow me on YouTube and hit the bell icon for a reminder. And I have one more thing before I shut this down. One more thing. And I made an announcement a couple weeks ago that was supposed to be for two people, but due to a scheduling conflict, only one person was available that night. So I had to defer the conclusion of the announcement until tonight. So, to my show legends, please welcome this person to the family and new show legend. She's your queen. Residing in the Lone Star State of Texas, please welcome show legend Queen Cole to the Talk to Q Radio Show. Queen, what's going on? Welcome to the family.
Welcome to the exclusive club.
Thank you.
Love it.
I was just thinking, because I was like, oh, if you come back to me, I was just going to say, oh my gosh, I was on with all the legends today. So.
And now you are one.
Thank you. I appreciate you always letting me come on, leaning into all these conversations. And I just really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Well, Queen, it's really me who's appreciative, because you're always supporting the show. You share the show like a maniac. I mean, I look around, I'm like, she advertises more than I do, And so I definitely appreciate that. You always willing to jump on the show whenever you can. I know you had a scheduling conflict a couple of weeks ago, but I completely understand, because, you were, introducing a new person into your life. And so, so congratulations on that and your daughter. and her daughter and her kid.
Thank you. Yes, I am a new grandma. It's been 1 month. I have a grandson now, so my schedule is different.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Well,
so
I
real
appreciate
quick.
it. I love your show. I think you're awesome at what you do. We all need to, take tips. And I do. I mean, you have the best panels. You have the best discussions. So I'm like, hey, I'm on episode like 105. You're like 964,000 million. And so I'm like, I'm just trying to stay on this race. So I appreciate you. I love what you do. And thank you so much for having me as a new show legend. Yay.
All right. So welcome to the family.
Thank you.
And again, thanks everyone for listening. I'll go ahead and shut this down before the weather shuts it down for me. So I want everyone to enjoy the rest of their week. Come back next Tuesday for Baby Mamas and Bonus Mamas. You've been checking out the Talk to Q radio show. No experts, just opinions. All right.